Okay, so I have a great story to share with you today, and it's Kamala and Maya's big idea. So let's go ahead and check it out. Kamala and Maya's Big Idea by Mina Harris, illustrated by Anna Ramirez Gonzalez. You know what should be out there? Kamala asked her sister Maya. Us, said Maya. A slide, said Kamala. And a swing, Maya added. A playground, they shouted together. Kamala and Maya had an idea. It was a very good idea and a very big idea. They were going to need help. Wouldn't it be great if there was a playground in the courtyard, Maya said. That does sound nice, Mommy agreed. How can we make that happen, Kamala asked. Well, I suppose the first step would be to ask the landlord, the person who owns the building. So Kamala wrote a letter and Maya drew a picture, and they went to see the landlord to discuss their idea. The landlord thought about it for less than a second. I don't think so. No. That was not the answer they wanted, but they weren't ready to give up. That night, the sisters tried to think of ways to turn a no into a yes. They asked the other kids in the building if they wanted a playground in the courtyard. Did they? Of course they did, and they had ideas too. Let's have a teeter-totter and a basketball hoop and flowers. So Kamala wrote a longer letter and they went to see the landlord together. Dear landlord, right now the courtyard of our building is empty and no one uses it. If there were swings, kids could fly high. If there was a sandbox, kids could build. If there was a slide, kids can go so far, so fast. Can you build it, please? The landlord thought about it for less than 5 seconds. A project this big is expensive. We don't have the money for that. Do your parents know you're here? This is not the answer they wanted, but Kamala was not ready to give up. If we ask our parents and do it all ourselves, can we fix up the courtyard? The landlord thought about it for a whole 10 seconds. Finally, he shrugged. If you can do it yourselves, sure. This wasn't exactly the answer they wanted, but it was a start. The kids all spoke to their parents about their ideas for the courtyard. They hung up posters and knocked on neighbors' doors. But they got the same answers from everyone. I'm sorry. Wow, that is a big job. Wish I could help. Which they knew meant no, no, no. But then Mr. Green stopped to talk. I work construction and I could maybe get some scrap lumber and some sand for a sandbox. Really, Kamala said. Yes, exclaimed Maya. Okay, I'll try. It wasn't a yes, but right now, maybe was the sweetest word they had ever heard. Maybe gave them hope. The next weekend, maybe turned into yes. The kids all helped measure and Mr. Green cut the boards. Then they sanded and hammered and sanded some more. Then came the actual sand. They were all thanking Mr. Green when Miss Lopez stopped to talk. I work at a garage. Maybe they have an extra tire for a teeter-totter. Another maybe. In the weeks that followed, lots of I don't knows turned into maybes and then yeses. No one could do everything, but everyone could do something. Kamala and Maya wanted everyone to celebrate the new playground, so they made another big poster inviting their neighbors to a potluck party. There were hot dogs and hummus, spicy chicken and potato salad, strawberries and brownies and lemonade. Mrs. Flores set up a sprinkler for the kids to run through. Mr. Green brought the music. Kamala admired the new playground, but she noticed there was still one thing missing. No one knew how to make a slide, but Miss Flores knew where they might buy one. I teach at Emerson Elementary, and they are redoing their playground. Maybe we can buy the old slide. This was a different kind of maybe, a how can we afford this maybe, but now everyone was trying to find a way to turn that maybe into a yes. These brownies are delicious. Maybe we can have a bake sale. We can all bring toys and books and have a sidewalk sale. No one could do everything, but everyone could contribute something. When the slide arrived at last, Maya and Kamala got the first ride. The landlord was impressed. "I want to shake your hands, girls," he said. "You did a good job. You all did a good job." Kamala and Maya had an idea. It was a very good idea and a very big idea. And with a lot of help, they made it happen. Hooray for Kamala and Maya! Hooray for the Purr sisters! "What's next, Kamala?" Kamala, looking up, said, "I'm wondering what the view is like from the roof." Growing up, I loved hearing stories and seeing old pictures of my mom, Maya Harris, and aunt, Kamala Harris, as young girls in the 1970s. There's one picture in particular of my mom and aunt that I love. My mom is the one in the bandana, my aunt in the bell-bottom jeans, and they're staring at the camera with fierce determination. They look like they've just conquered the world. That's how I perceived them when I was younger. As I've gotten older, it's only become more true. They would go on to achieve great things, both as public interest lawyers dedicated to improving their communities. They always made sure I knew I can do anything too. A specific anecdote from their childhood always stuck with me, how they worked together to turn the unused courtyard in their apartment building into an area for kids to play. It was an early lesson in the power of organizing and an example of what my grandmother, Kamala Harris, a scientist and civil rights activist, always reminded us. Each of us has a part to play, no matter how small. By the time I had 2 daughters myself, I knew I had to write a book inspired by that story. This picture book is based on those events, but it incorporates fictional characters and details that draw on my own imaginative interpretation of what happened. I wanted to memorialize it not only for my girls, but also for the children across the world. I was so lucky to grow up with such strong female role models, my grandmother, my mother, and my aunt. I hope this book inspires a new generation of activists to know that they can be effective agents of change if they think creatively, engage their communities, and never ever give up. And that is the end. So this is a great story about how to get involved in your community and how kids can make a difference. Now, there is one thing that I do want to share with you about this story. One of the girls in the story, Kamala, she ends up growing up and she is going to be the first ever female vice president of the United States. And not only is she going to be the first female vice president, but she's also going to be the first African American and Asian American vice president of the United States. So it's a pretty big deal. And as you can see, she started doing things for her community ever since she was a little girl. So this is an amazing story about a great person, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.